Greetings and welcome to the Seattle Law of One podcast. Today's episode is about nothing random. One of the most gratifying things about learning the Law of One is the realization that there's nothing random about our lives or about the universe, that everything of significance that happens to you from the day you're born to the day you die, and every day in between, has been carefully and meticulously planned by you and your higher self before incarnation. This changes everything about the way we look at our lives, the universe, and everything around us. How so? Let's find out. My name is Jonathan Tong, and I'm facilitator of the Seattle Law of One study group. We can be found on the list of study groups of the LNL Research website shown on your screen. We do also have a Facebook group, and we meet twice a week on Zoom, Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Saturdays 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific Time. You don't have to live in Seattle or anywhere near Seattle to join our Facebook group or our Zoom sessions. Anyone who's interested and available is welcome to join. Just contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com to get on our mailing list. We send out emails once a week with Zoom links and information on what we're talking about that week. We do also have a YouTube channel where we keep recordings of previous podcast episodes, as well as recordings of our monthly Q&As with Jim McCarty. Just go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications when we upload new videos, and contact us at seattlelawofone@gmail.com if you'd like to sit in on one of our Q&A sessions with Jim. As mentioned, today's topic is nothing random. Let's go ahead and meet our panelists. Panelists, let our viewers know who you are and where you're calling from, starting with Aram.
Hi, I'm Aram and I'm calling from the San Francisco Bay Area and very happy to be here.
We're always happy to have you on, Aram. Thanks for being here. And Camila?
Hi, I am Camilo. I am calling from Seattle.
So nice to have you on for the first, hopefully not the last time. Looking forward to a great hangout. And Shan?
Hey guys, I'm Shanley Worthy. I'm calling from Sydney, Australia. And I would really just love to thank Jonathan for having me on here today and inviting me as to be a panelist, and as well as my fellow panelist members. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. So great to have you on. I'm looking forward to having you on again. Did want to remind our viewers, as always, that none of us here are experts or authorities on the Law of One. We are normal people like you, just having a conversation about things of a spiritual nature that seem important to us. Anything that any of us say could be wrong. You're welcome to disagree with anything or everything that any of us say. If you are already familiar with the Law of One and the entity known as Quo, you might want to skip ahead to the chapter on evolution. Otherwise, for those who are new to the Law of One, you can think of it as a set of spiritual teachings based on the understanding that all is one, and that one thing is love. All of the reading passages we're looking at today came to us through the process known as channeling. You can think of channeling as a form of telepathic communication between humans and entities such as angelic beings, extraterrestrial beings, inner planes beings, spirits of deceased, higher self, etc. A channel basically serves as a mouthpiece for other entities to speak through. And in this case, those entities would appear to be of extraterrestrial origin. There are two forms of channeling that have been developed by our friends at LNL Research. Trance channeling is when the channel is in a trance state, meaning they are subconscious or unconscious as if asleep, meaning they have no idea what words are coming out of their mouths as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Ra back in the early 1980s. Conscious channeling is when the channel is in a conscious but deep meditative state, meaning they are only somewhat aware of what words are coming out of their mouths as they're saying them. This is how contact was made with the entity known as Quo, starting in the mid-1980s up to present day. Who is Quo? You can think of Quo as a group entity made up of three social memory complexes: Ra at 6th density, Latui at 5th density, Haton at 4th density. You can think of a social memory complex as a planetary consciousness. It would be as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. You can think of densities or dimensions as different levels of consciousness or of reality, since those two things seem to be very closely intertwined. Imagine, if you will, that the elements of earth, fire, water, and air have some form of consciousness, as many indigenous peoples around the world have been saying for centuries. We refer to that as first density. You can think of second density as the level of consciousness of plants and animals. Clearly, a quantum leap in consciousness above and beyond that of what we would refer to as inanimate matter. You can think of third density as the level of consciousness of humans and cetaceans like whales and dolphins. Again, a significant quantum leap in consciousness above and beyond that of plants and other animals. You can think of fourth density as the level of consciousness of the social memory complex. Again, as if the entire human population of Earth was merged into one group mind. Clearly a quantum leap in consciousness above and beyond that of an individual person. You can think of fifth and sixth densities as whatever would be comparable quantum leaps above and beyond that. There is much more we could say on the subject, and if you're interested, check out our podcast episode on densities and dimensions. Otherwise, for now, suffice it to say, the entity known as Quo appears to be made up of three planetary consciousnesses: Ra at sixth density, Latui at fifth density, Hatan at fourth density. First contact with Quo was made by the LNL Research Channeling Team in 1986, almost 2 years after the end of the Ra contact in 1984. They have been channeled every month since then, up to present day, by the LNL Research Channeling Team. Session transcripts can be found in the LNL Conscious Channeling Library shown on your screen. Having said all that, let's take a look at a passage on evolution. In session 41 of the Raw Contact, question 10, the questioner, Dawn, asked, when first density is formed, we have fire, air, earth, and water. There is at some time the first movement or individuation of life into a portion of consciousness that is self-mobile. Could you describe the process of the creation of this and what type of energy center that it has? Ra. I am Ra. The first, or red ray density, though attracted towards growth, is not in the proper vibration for those conditions conducive to what you may call the spark of awareness. As the vibratory energies move from red to orange, the vibratory environment is such as to stimulate those chemical substances, which lately had been inert, to combine in such a fashion that love and light begin the function of growth. The supposition which you had earlier made concerning single cell entities such as the polymorphous dinoflagellate is correct. The mechanism is one of the attraction of upward spiraling light. There is nothing random about this or any portion of evolution. Super interesting to get that perspective on evolution. Speaking as a former high school biology teacher, it is interesting. This is significantly different from the Darwinian evolution, which I had come to understand and taught my students all the years, that evolution is more or less a random process and that there's no particular purpose or goal to it. To have Ra explain that, no, there is actually a purpose and a goal to evolution, and the purpose of it is to evolve through those density first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Super cool to get a roadmap of evolution of spiritual life in the universe. That's super fascinating to me. Oh, what do you think, Aram? Any thoughts on anything from this passage?
I don't have anything right now. I think I'll pass it on.
It's a lot to look at, isn't it? It's a lot to meditate on and cogitate on. I could spend an hour on polymorphous dinoflagellates for starters, but let's move on from there. What do you think, Camila? Any thoughts on anything here?
I'm in a similar state. Yeah, there's a lot to like think of here. The only thing that comes to mind now is if first density, if they have anything to play to increase their chances for the graduation, or if it's just like a automatic process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great question. I think that's one of the things that I found most interesting. They have many times referred to this process as one of attraction of upward spiraling light, because starting with plants, for example, you get a form of life that is actually attracted to light and grows towards the light. And I think that is a super fascinating way to look at evolution in terms of always an upward spiraling growth towards the creator. I guess that's the other thing Darwin would never say. Darwin would never involve any sort of God or deity in the process of evolution. But here, yeah, the whole purpose is for the one infinite creator to learn more about itself by going through this journey of the densities where it forgets that itself and it has to remember. I think. I don't know. What do you think, Shanli? Any thoughts on anything here?
I would definitely agree. And I mean, when I think of it in terms of like the body, because our body would be first density in such as like when I say before the veil is actually opened and we get that remembrance, our body would be kind of for first density until we get that self-awareness and we go up to the choice where we are polarizing towards service to others or service to self. And yet all this time, it's so valuable. Like the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it's like you said, the creator experiencing itself. So I find that as a really good point to think about that is that no matter what density we're talking about, it is all valuable because we're all growing.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I find most fascinating about it, that unlike more or less every other religion or set of spiritual teachings I've looked at, and I've looked at a lot, this one really gives us a roadmap that shows us where we've been and where we're going after this for hundreds of millions of years. And I just think it's a super beautiful thing to actually be able to look at life on Earth as, oh, wow, okay, so this is not some random accidental mishmash of molecules. There is actually a purpose and a process and a meaning behind it, and it's beautiful. Didn't necessarily intend to spend a lot of time on this passage. I think we got a lot of other things to look at. Does anybody have any other thoughts, reflections on this passage before we look at something else?
Yeah, it just I don't know why, but I just had this thought of, you know, like a dog that's like separated from its family, and is willing to just like um cross states and just like this quest to get back home and find its owners. I don't know, that feels relevant somehow.
Yeah, what a beautiful metaphor. I have never thought of it and never would have thought of it. But I think that is a great metaphor for what the creator's doing. Long, long journey back home from this beginning of separation, going all the way through the densities. What an amazing thing. Yeah. Anybody else before we look at something else different? Cool. Well, let's look at a couple passages on pre-incarnative planning. On January 21st, 1981, Latouille, who is one of the three social memory complexes that make up Quo, said, "Each entity in each incarnation travels a path laid out quite carefully before the incarnation, always allowing for free will to change or alter that path at any time. The traveling is of a nature that experiencing might be had. To taste of many flavors is to know the creation in greater depth and richness. Few upon your planet remain with one flavor, shall we say, for their entire incarnation. Each entity grows from the experience of a variety of flavors, a variety of patterns of thought, a variety of orientations and attitudes. In this way, each entity reproduces the creator experiencing itself, for it must not be forgotten that all is one. Each entity, each experience, each thought, each turn, each port is the creator." And on September 2nd, 2001, Quo said, "The interesting thing about personality is that each of you chose both your gifts and your limitations, your abundances and your lacks, for very good reasoning. Good reasons. The challenge is to come into some fuller realization as time goes on as to what the pattern is behind those challenges and those gifts. What was hoped for by the higher self that is you, when you and your higher self planned the big points, as this instrument would say, the plot points of this incarnation? Why did you put that blockage there, that remarkable gift there, that incredible stupidity over there? These things were placed there for a reason. Why did you choose relationships with this, and this entity that delight you and aggravate you and make you angry? In each connection, there's a fullness of goodness if one can but see the plan. One seldom sees the plan until the pattern is complete, and the one has the blessed advantage of hindsight. I love that part about why did you put that blockage there, that gift there, that incredible stupidity over there. Again, it's just really interesting to realize, if you didn't realize it before, that, yeah, every aspect of your incarnation, everyone who has an important part in your life was put there by intention, by plan. That you were all there to help each other fulfill each other's incarnational plans. That's just amazing to think that that's what's happening with all 8 billion of the souls on this planet. That's just nutty. What do you think, Camila? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah. See, since I went through this session, and also the second time that I read the raw material, I've been getting like better and better at remembering and just being aware of this. So there's been times where something will happen, like in my life, some problem, some challenge, and I ask myself, why would I do this to myself? and and what is incredible is that I almost always immediately know why. Like I would do this because I need to see this, and it always makes sense, and that's been extremely helpful.
That's pretty good if you can understand it at that time, as opposed to like in hindsight after you die or something. That's pretty good. What do you think, Sean? Anything to add?
Oh, I just, sorry, I had to laugh, Jonathan, because you crack me up. You're funny. Um, I agree. Like when I reflect on my entire life experience, a major thing that I've dealt with is feelings of unworthiness, right? And my catalysts have always involved that, are you feeling worthy yet? And my last name is
I was gonna say your last name is goddamn worthy. It's like, was that not enough of a clue for you?
what I mean. Nothing is random. Nothing is random because that has been a consistent life catalyst for me. Is are you feeling worthy yet? Look at your last name. This is something you need to recognize. And in hindsight, like you said, I've only just started realizing that in my 29th year. So I find that quite profound.
Yeah, well, this is still pretty early in the game. You've got lots of time to go from here, so that's amazing and awesome that you have figured that out at this relatively early stage in your life.
I mean, it was right in front of my face. My last name's Worthy, but
It was literally in front of your face from the day you were born. Yeah, yeah. But that's good. A lot of people just never figure it out, so that's great. How about you, Aram? Anything to add?
Yeah, I have something similar to Shanley. When I came across the raw material, there were all these little clues, and I don't know if I pre-incarnatively chose them so that when I read the raw material, it would be like, oh, this is what you've been looking for, or this is like, like why I resonated with it so deeply. And my first name is a Korean word, but it's interesting. I don't know why my dad chose this spelling, for when, we came to the States, but I found out later on when I was an adult that Al Aram in Arabic means the pyramids. And so I was like, oh gosh, was that planned as a clue for me? I don't know. It's so weird, but I just like when I think about this passage, I'm like, oh, maybe I was that granular before I came down here. Like maybe I did really make all these details. So yeah, I wouldn't miss the big signposts.
That's so cool. Yeah, your higher self must be laughing her butt off right now.
yes.
Yeah. Are you saying the word Aram in Korean means pyramid?
No, it in Korean it means an armful. So it's like a burden or a blessing, depending on what your arms are full of. And it can be spelled, it's in Hangul, it's spelled with different letters,
Oh,
but
interesting.
for whatever reason my dad put an H, and I've seen it spelled Aram as well.
He knew you were going to be a handful, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a feeling, I know for sure my dad did not know that it had another meaning in another language. For I'm certain he didn't. Yeah.
Good planning, higher self. Good planning. Anybody have any other thoughts on anything from this passage? We'll be taking a look at some other passages that kind of unpack the main idea here, I think. For now, I did want to let viewers know that we did do a podcast episode on Journey of Souls. Those who are familiar with the work of Dr. Michael Newton know that he worked with hundreds of people who went through hypnotic regressions and remembered not just past lives, but also life between lives, the whole process of reviewing their previous incarnation and making plans for what they were going to learn and how they were going to learn it for the next incarnation. So check it out if you're interested. We had as a panelist somebody who actually who was trained with Dr. Newton to do that therapy. So she has lots of great stories to share. Otherwise, let's take a look at a passage on no wrong choices. On November 18th, 1984, Quo said, "We see the equality of each path, yet we see the uniqueness and the power associated with each path as well. It cannot be said with certainty that to serve a few in a powerful manner is greater or lesser in service than to serve many in a lesser powerful manner. We see the one creator in each entity, awaiting that entity's seeking of it. We see many ways in which many entities may be inspired to begin that seeking. We see that a great variety of ways is available to each in this group to serve as shepherd, to radiate the love and light to those who hunger for this nourishment. We can only ask each to seek in meditation the answers which have been provided for each of you by your greater self, by your very own self, as you planned this incarnation and as you hid various signposts along your various possible journeys, including your name, some of us. Know that each path contains in whole all that you hope to accomplish. If one tool is removed, then another will take its place. Know that all is well. No turn will cause the seeker to be lost from that which is sought, for the one creator waits not only at the end of each path, but along each portion of each path, for it is the one who seeks itself within itself. There is none else." I really loved this passage when I first discovered it, and it's one that I have read many times because it's so easy, at least it was for me, to worry that I had a destiny. I had something I was supposed to be doing in this life and worrying about making the wrong choice that was going to lead me to not doing that. But the way they've described it here is so beautiful that that's basically like GPS. You've got a starting point, you've got an end point. You can take whatever turns you want along the way, and it's still going to show you how to get there. And everything that you plan for this incarnation can be found on whichever path you choose. I just find that such a huge relief, if nothing else. What do you think, Shan? Any thoughts on anything here?
Oh, Jonathan, you absolutely expressed that, the pinnacle of that, because that's exactly, I have dealt with feelings of, I need to do this, I need to do that, and this stress that we put on ourselves when in reality, the experience is to be human. Like we're here, and especially if you're a wanderer or all these aspects, that Ra speaks about in the Law of One, you are here to share that individual essence of the one infinite creator and to serve in that way and to just be in your presence. And any step we take out of our comfort zone is the path. Do you know what I mean? Because we're growing through that.
Yeah.
And it's just like the synchronicities that we see on a daily basis. I see 777 when there's a significant thing going on. So it doesn't just have to be, a visual synchronicity. It can just be a moment in time and space and just sitting with that and the feeling that everything is okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know you have told me before off camera that, yeah, you have seen 777s, repeating sevens,
Especially
way
before
more than the normal person sees any repeating numbers. That's super cool. Yeah, super beautiful. What do you think, Ram? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, I love these passages because I've been conditioned by society and culture and parental figures that don't see the equality of each path, they might encourage you to like, oh, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer or something professional, and maybe you might have a desire to do be an artist or to be a chef or something that doesn't guarantee like financial success. And yeah, it just reading this makes me realize like there's no that each path is equal and there's no better or worse, that you know um, on that level, on the other side, they don't see one path or occupation as superior or inferior to any other. So yeah, I really love this. And
And I would think as a parent, it makes a big difference in how you raise your child if you're coming from this perspective and realizing that whatever path they choose, they came here to do some specific things, and whichever path they choose, they will learn it. That would make a huge difference, I would think, as a parent.
yes, absolutely. It allows them to do the choosing, and then you don't push your agenda on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still offer your perspectives and they can take whatever of it they want or not. But yeah, beautiful thing. What do you think, Camila? Anything to add?
No, I don't really have anything to comment of, but those were really, really great thoughts.
Yeah. I really love that part at the very end. The one creator waits not only at the end of each path, but along each portion of the path, meaning there every step of the way. There's no place you can go where you're not going to find creator, where you're not going to find opportunities to learn what you came here to learn. It's changed my life a lot being able to understand that for sure. Anyone else have any thoughts on this passage before we look at something else? Let's take a look at a couple passages on no mistakes. In session 69 of the Raw Contact, question 17, Raw said, free will does not mean that there will be no circumstances when calculations will be awry. This is so in all aspects of the life experience. Although there are no mistakes, there are surprises. And on April 9th, 1982, Quo said, there are no mistakes within the will of the Creator. If it is your quest to attain the level of polarity necessary to be successfully harvested as a fourth density, positively polarized entity, as our brother Hatan pointed out, your sustained seeking will attain fruition. The efforts and accomplishments of those who are unable to sustain a seeking will result in a confused response to a confused seeking. We would not suggest for those present that either is the case, for only in each entity's heart is there an awareness of their performance and their level of desire. For we would suggest that there are no mistakes within creation, and each will attain at the harvest that end towards which his striving has led him or her. Yeah, again, another beautiful passage that I always find so much love and wisdom in these teachings that I just really haven't found anywhere else in particular. And I was a philosophy major, and I've spent like more or less every day of the last 45 years trying to find answers to the big questions. Studied a lot of different religions, philosophies, spiritual traditions, but yeah, I found so many things in the Law of One that really tie everything together and say things that I haven't seen elsewhere. And I get a lot of encouragement out of this, that if you really do, or if you're seeking, you'll find it. Whatever you put into the seeking, that's what you're going to get out of it, I think is what I'm getting here. What do you think, Aram? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, this is for someone who's afraid a lot of times of making mistakes, this has helped ease a lot of my anxiety. And sometimes you get paralyzed with the idea that you're going to make a wrong choice or a wrong decision. And knowing that there are no mistakes, and that if anything, if you do make a mistake, it's kind of like when the GPS redirects you. You made a wrong turn, you're just going to be redirected, and you're gonna be okay in the end. It helps you be less indecisive, or beat yourself up too much. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some passage from Quo where they said you don't want to hurry back to the creator because the creator wants to know every step of every journey that you've made, and no matter how many wrong turns you've made or weird tangents elsewhere, the experiences that you get from that are valuable to the creator. And that's yeah, such a beautiful thing to realize, understand, for lack of a better word. Camilo, anything to add?
Yeah, I think that you said it, Jonathan. When you said what you put in the seeking is what you get. I feel that that's so true. And even like by seeing like my past mistakes, I can almost always say that the mistake had something to do with not applying enough seeking of something in some way.
Yeah. And you learn from it, right?
Yeah, of course, or try to at least.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Sean? Anything to add?
I agree with what Aram was saying, well, what everybody was saying, but just the aspect of having that massive fear of making a mistake and that limiting my action. I feel like we're here to kind of not, although no mistakes exist, it's like mistakes in our vernacular is how we see it. But when we're interacting with humans, it's inevitable when we're all the one infinite creator, we're going to make some misinterpretations or and it's that's the surprise, right? It's not the mistake, but the surprise, like, oh, that person took my intention the wrong way, or this, and this. And that may have caused harm to that person because they misinterpreted what we were feeling or what we were saying. And it's just beautiful. We're experiencing it all. It's difficult in the moment, but we're here to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's worth making a distinction in that I don't think that Quo was saying that every single specific detail of your incarnation every day has been planned. Like you plan to have this for breakfast, and you plan to, go to the store at this time on this day. The specifics aren't planned, but the general patterns of learning and lessons that we get, that's the part that I think is determined. So it's a really nice balance between free will and making sure that we still accomplish what we came here to accomplish. It's amazing. Anyone else have any other thoughts on this passage? I think I have one other passage on this topic. Let's take a look at this one, and this is one of my all-time favorite passages. It comes with a graphic. This is from November 9th, 1986. Quo said, "Each of you falls headlong into a blazing white light, the white light of an infinite creator whose very nature is love. You are falling unbelievably quickly, and you shall fuse and become one in your perceptions, as you already are in reality with love itself. This is your destiny. And yet speed is such a relative thing. None of you knows how quickly spiritual gravity pulls you toward that great center, that great unity. Each of you feels you cannot possibly be moving quickly enough. You need to know more. And so you draw yourself along. Yet in reality, you could not hold yourself back if you tried." I remember when I first read this passage, I was picturing a spiraling galaxy like this, because to me, I look at this and I see like water swirling down the drain. And it's like, wherever you are in that, eventually you're going to go down into the center and be union with one again. Or maybe you're a little person falling downwards from up above. But either way, it's going to happen. You're getting there is, as the great philosopher Thanos once said, inevitable. It's going to happen. You couldn't stop it even if you wanted to. What do you think, Camila? Any thoughts on anything here?
This is a really good quote. Uh, just something that came to my mind when you talked about spirals. Since I was younger, for some reason, I've been attracted to the spiral shape. Um, I don't even know why, but I even wrote it as part of like my signature in in places. And yeah, and I don't really know yet why, but I see how significant that shape is in the universe and in all of the processes. Everything seems to be like a spiral like format. Every type of growth.
And I think many, many ancient cultures have had sacred spirals in one symbol form or another. The swastika and the savastika from Hindu traditions come to mind first, remind me of spirals, at least when I see them. And Nazis too, but, but they were originally symbols of blessings for sure, interestingly enough. What do you think, Sean? Anything to add?
I agree. I mean, I agree with everything being said, but I just wanted to say that this is why meditation is so important, is because when we sit in that presence without a thought, or we're going to have thoughts, but if you just allow and observe those thoughts and let them go, you really do come to that realization that things are pulled. It's like that magnetic, the pole, the north, the south and the north, right? That's where we get our catalysts, and we just sit there and we know that we're going through a catalyst, right? And the greatest destination is unity. That's where we're all headed. So yeah, let's just meditate together.
Yeah, and again, it's something that I've really appreciated about the Law of One. It gives me a lens to look at the world and the universe through, and where, oh, wow, okay, everything makes sense. Even the most horrific, terrible seeming things in the world, it is still the one infinite creator who wants to learn more about itself and understand itself. And every aspect of the universe is the creator wanted to explore and find out. It's a beautiful thing. Especially in these interesting catalytic times, for sure. Aram, what do you think? Anything to add?
Yeah, this is very reassuring and, helps you just relax and kind of chill out with all the seeking, all the pressure that you put on yourself. And I realize like in in space time, we feel linear time and we feel the separation, but in time space it's already unified, I guess. So can kind of just, um, like Shanley said in meditation, like really be present and feel into that unity that is already here.
It wouldn't be a Law of One podcast if we didn't talk about meditation at some point. It's got to be in there for sure. Yeah, they are the French fries of the happy meal of life for sure. Anybody else have any thoughts on this before we change topics? Look at a couple other passages.
Um, I guess another comment about the spiral. I just think it's really cool to see the spiral as a shape that takes you through different lessons. But every time you accomplish one, you go back again on a bigger dimension.
Right.
Like you go to like the next step, and that's really awesome. That's pretty cool and really helpful to like think about.
Yeah, and it's a great callback to what we talked about at the very beginning of evolution, the upward spiraling light. That is how life evolves in the universe. And every time you spiral back, you're back someplace you've been before, but you're at a
Mhm.
little bit higher level than you were before. Again, it's a beautiful thing to visualize and nice context to look at everything else through.
It's like every time the difficulty level goes 1 point.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, and I think that's what's happening to planet Earth now as we are spiraling upwards from third density to fourth. In many ways, we are having to revisit a lot of things that are still unresolved in third density that we kind of need to resolve and balance before we can really move fully into fourth density. At least that's my take on it. That's the way it seems. Anybody else? Any thoughts on this passage? Cool. Well, let's take a look at a couple passages on the idea that all is well. On March 21st, 2004, Quo said, "Faith, in general, is intended to indicate surety. The way that this instrument sees faith is fairly acceptable to us. In her mind, faith is connected with knowing that all is well. That is what this instrument tends to mean when she speaks of faith. It is not that she attaches any fact, or dogmatic principle, or tenet to the word faith, but rather it is a noun expressing an attitude of inner surety, of the reality of the perfection and the rightness of the pattern of creation in which she is involved and of which she is an active and creative part. When we use that word, we are attempting to express a sense of confidence that is not aggressive, but rather rests in peace and confidence and sureness, so that the knowingness is not confrontive, argumentative, or even filled with fact, but is simply an attitude of mind which assumes and stands on the rightness and the goodness of creation, of each entity's place in it, and of the patterns of suffering and expression and experience that seem to be moving about one at any particular time. I like how they are very clearly contrasting this to Christian faith as we have conventionally come to know it, which means you believe in some particular belief about Christianity that is aggressively pushed on people, often as some form of dogma. And here, again, I'm not sure if I've really seen faith defined this way in any other place, but just the surety that the world and the universe is in fact a good place, in spite of all appearances to the contrary. It's good. That's a beautiful and again reassuring, inspiring thing. What do you think, Sean? Any thoughts on anything here?
I absolutely agree. And I also just wanted to add that faith, like as it's noted here, faith is something that sometimes acts in the background. There could be just a moment where you sit and you're having a difficult time, but you just sit in that moment and you're actually present with that difficulty because you have faith that you will get through it. You've got the experiential knowledge and wisdom from that past experience to then apply to this present moment. And that's what faith to me is. It's just knowing that you've gotten through hard times before, you can get through them again.
Practice makes perfect. It gets a little
Exactly.
bit better each time, for sure. Aram, anything to add?
Yeah, you know, I think the level of faith comes from the fact that, this what we perceive as the incarnation or this reality is really a simulation. And, from the soul's perspective, um, there is no end or harm done ever. I think about how in the raw material they talked about even the trauma of the entities on Maldeck that were blown up. Um, you know, they were caught in a knot of fear, but there was ways to remedy that. There's like so much healing that happens on the other side, and even those that passed in the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, like all those souls, even though like they left in this really traumatic way, were given so much healing. And there's I can't imagine from this perspective like how much love and care is given to us,
Yeah.
when we pass. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I mean, it's really reassuring to know that the world is basically a good place because it certainly doesn't look that way. I mean, when I look around, it seems oftentimes very frightening, very scary, very negative, and so on. And I think that is part of the closed book test, shall we say, to see if you can still keep an open heart and still have faith that all is well in spite of overwhelming confident evidence to the contrary. What do you think, Camilo? Anything to add?
Yeah, I just agree with everything that was said. Really great thoughts, and also, yeah, it's really hard to see goodness in the world. Uh, and all the invention, and we organized ourselves into like societies, and we have programs to help people in need, and we even feed the people that have no food, and there's not really any other reason than just making things better. So there's some like natural goodness from the inside that we seem to want to express.
Yeah, it's a beautiful and reassuring thing in so many different levels, so many different ways. Anybody else have any other thoughts on this passage? I think I had one other one to look at on this subject. Sounds good. Let's look at something from the raw contact. This was session 95, question 24. Ra says, "The seeker which has purely chosen the service to others path shall certainly not have a variant apparent incarnational experience. There is no outward shelter in your illusion from the gusts, flurries, and blizzards of quick and cruel catalyst. However, to the pure, all that is encountered speaks of the love and the light of the one infinite creator. The cruelest blow is seen with an ambience of challenges offered and opportunities to come. Thusly, the great pitch of light is held high above such an one, so that all interpretation may be seen to be protected by the light." Really beautiful passage, cautioning us that those who have chosen the service to others path isn't necessarily going to be all daisies and ice cream and puppies and rainbows. You're going to have the same experience as everyone else. You're going to get hit with the same negative catalyst as everybody else. But if you are purely and strongly polarized enough, you'll be able to see it as a challenge and an opportunity rather than a curse and something terrible. I find that super reassuring. What do you think, Aram? Any thoughts on anything here?
Yeah, before I found the loved one, when horrible things would happen, I would often think that, things were happening to me, and that in some way it was like some form of punishment or, you know, ill fortune or bad luck. And now I have the perspective that, even when hard things come, it's for me. It's for my growth and for my benefit.
It's not an easy perspective to come by. I'm assuming that took you a while to get to that point.
Yeah. And it's still
Yeah.
not comfortable when hard things happen, but there you have a different take on it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. What do you think, Camilo? Any thoughts on that?
No, great passage, but no immediate thoughts now.
That's good. Shan?
I'm gonna say no either. I agree with exactly what you both have said, Aram and Jonathan. It's no need to add.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only thing that comes to me that might be worth adding is when they talk about being protected by the light, knowing that no matter how bad things might be, you're still protected by the light. It reminds me of guardian angels and angelic beings who are, according to Guo, attracted to us, at least through the purity of our seeking, how much we are trying to be of service to others. And for me, that makes a big difference also, knowing that whatever negative things might seem to be happening to me, I do know that I'm being watched over all the time by guardian angels and the archangels because I've built up a working relationship with them over the years, talk to them every day, and ask them to help me do what I came to this incarnation to do. So, again, just knowing that I've got some backup is nice and helpful. So, viewers, check out our podcast episode on angels and archangels if you're interested. Otherwise, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at one last passage on all will be well. This is from February 10th, 2024, and this has been edited for brevity. A person identified as N2 says, "So I'm basically a happy, joyful person, or that's my intellectual look at the world. But when I look at the world, my heart breaks. I think I need help with that, to understand, how to look at the world the way it is and not let your breaking heart break the rest of you."
Mm.
I know, man. I love the way that question was worded.
Oh,
It's so
amazing.
beautiful. Yeah. Whoever did it, and to blessings to you. Quo responds by saying, "When one looks out upon the world about one must remember that this is third density is an illusion. It is an experience of seeming separation from each other, from the one creator, and from the heart of love. And yet, if you are aware that the creator exists within each entity, You are aware that each entity is giving the creator a means by which it may know itself better, even in those areas which might seem of a negative or traumatic way. This is a means by which each entity in this third density illusion, and in all third density illusions, may be of service to the creator. Thus, both the seeming negative experiences and the positive are means by which the creator can know itself better, and the spiritual seeker can know the creator better and itself better, so that in the final analysis, shall we say, all is one, all is well, and all will be well. I'm pretty sure I can't say it anything better than that. So I'm going to go straight to the panelists. Camila, do you have any thoughts on that? Anything to add to what Chloe has said?
I don't know if anything can be added.
It's a perfect passage, isn't it?
Yeah, but I guess I'll just say, like, similar to what I said about faith. Yeah, about faith. When I see positive things being done, that's what gives me faith.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. Sean, any thoughts?
I think it is something that I reflect on a lot is I find it really difficult to understand the negative path and why they do what they do, but at the same time I can accept it. I can, and it took me a long time to get to that acceptance. Because it is difficult to see that, but at the same time I know that that is the creator and I am being catalyzed through that experience. So in effort I am also being served and in order to serve. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's if you ever do struggle with the negative and understanding why the negative exists, it's just as Quo says here, the third density is an illusion, where the two polarities are existing next to each other. So
And that
it's
they're both equally
yeah,
valid. Yeah.
exactly right. And
Yeah.
it's all unifying at the end anyway, the same destination.
Yeah. Yeah, beautifully said. Aram, anything to add?
Yeah, I had a really like hard experience earlier this week, and I basically my son got a burn on his face, and I was like traumatized by it. I think I cried more than he did, and I was feeling really down that morning, and a lot of like self-judgment, a lot of blame, a lot of just like feeling a lot of guilt for that happening to him. And I was in such a really like negative space. I asked, I don't know who I asked, if it was my guides or my higher self. I was basically like, I really need a sign that everything's going to be okay, and later on that same day, we were on a walk, and on this walk, I saw not one but three rainbows. And as soon as I saw that first rainbow, because earlier that day I'd asked for a sign, like, when I saw it, I just immediately felt so much relief, and just, it was so validating, and it just was so reassuring that all is well and all will be well, and that, even the burn, could be a lesson for my son, or a lesson for both of us, but that I have that faith, and sometimes I do need uh validation, reassurance.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it means you're a good parent and you're a caring parent. Yeah. But hopefully, yeah, being able to see it from a law of one perspective, that any little thing like a little splinter or something, that's probably random. That wasn't necessarily planned. But anything that would be considered a significant event in somebody's life, yours or someone else's, can trust that it was planned pre-incarnatively, as difficult as that might be. I know it's a daily thing for me. I mean, whenever I see things going on in the, let's say, political world that bother me and upset me, I think I'm only now starting to be able to tell myself, oh, so I guess you don't really believe in the law of one, huh? It's like, Well, no, I do. Well, it's like, well, if you did, you would understand that that's creator also doing that stuff. So what's the problem? Why are you upset about that? It's like, okay, higher self, shut the fuck up. I get it. All right, all right. I'm slowly starting to come around to that. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on this passage? This was, in fact, the last one to look at. Any thoughts on this one before we wrap things up? Viewers, we read your podcast survey feedback, and we are trying to shorten the videos. So thank you for all of you who sent in feedback. Much appreciated. So where do we go from here? What are some takeaway lessons we might have from our less than 1 hour discussion today? I've only got 4, but I think they're decent. If you have learned that evolution is not random, that's a good thing. If you learn that everything significant in your life was planned by you and your higher self, that's a game changer for me. And that there are no mistakes, and that all is well, all will be well in the long run, if not in the short run. Sounds good to me. What do you think, Sean? Any takeaway lessons of your own you'd like to add, or final thoughts?
Um, just that genuinely, like through my own experiences, everything that has happened, and I'm talking like, as we all know, we all go through some very negative catalysts that, alter your perception on the world and life. It wasn't exactly as you said, it was planned. I planned it for myself, and that gets rid of any distortions in my mind about the law of one, and just my connection to that unity, and that knowing that I'm never alone. We are never alone. We're all here existing together as one. And I think that's just very beautiful.
Yeah. It is so easy to feel alone. It is so easy to look at the world and say, wow, that is some weird, random, fucked up stuff going on. Aram?
Yeah, I don't know if I should even bring this up because it might open a can of worms, but um, I do think that we plan the big events in our lives, and there's there's some clues in our astrological natal charts, and yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, it does feel like it isn't random. There are big lessons that we've planned for ourselves, and knowing that it's all for our own good.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do a podcast episode on astrology at some point. It's not something I've really spent a lot of time studying, but I've definitely looked at my astrological signs and seen a lot of things that make sense and explain things. Others less so, but yeah. Camilla, anything to add?
Yeah, I really agree with your points and all the points that were made, and I'll say that like this podcast itself, being here and participating here, to me was not random, and I think there's a reason. Like lately, just I've been trying to be like more aware of all these things during my life, and there's been quite a few changes and like new stuff, and I think this is like a reassurance, that nothing is random,
Yeah.
and that everything will be well.
Huge reassuring. And yeah, certainly changes the way I've looked at my life, the universe, and everything. Sounds good, panelists. Thank you, as always, for being here. As always, I learned a lot from you, and I'm coming away a slightly better person, I think. I did want to let our viewers know that if you enjoyed this episode, you might want to check out our podcast episode on All Is Well, where we dig deeper into that and look at some other reassuring passages. Or the podcast episode on Journey of Souls, looking at pre-incarnative planning through the Michael Newton regressions. And also School of Souls. In many ways, we live in a school of souls, both on Earth and the whole universe, and there's nothing random about that either. Or Hero's Journey. Those who are familiar with the work of Joseph Campbell will enjoy knowing that our 3D incarnations are very much designed to follow that same pattern of the Hero's Journey. And that, yes, Game of Life, one of my favorite episodes. Your life really is, in many ways, a video game, and learning how to work it, play the rules, and get better and improve your game and enjoy the game. Big learning for all. Otherwise, that brings us to our pop quiz. Pop quiz, of course, is something we like to do at the end of our podcast, just to end our otherwise serious conversations on a lighter note and maybe look for Law of One connections in pop culture. They're kind of like the bonus tracks at the end of the CD for anyone who's old enough to know what a CD was. Since today's episode was about how there's nothing random in the universe, how everything happens for a reason, thought it would be fun to have a pop quiz on synchronicities, or meaningful coincidences that seem related but have no causal connection. Quo on November 13th, 2010 once said, "You are loved, you are needed, you are full of purpose, and you simply need to let go of any preconceived notions as to how that works and simply engage in life to the best of your ability as a conscious seeker that understands the power of choice, the power of desire, the power of intention. The universe will begin to perceive you as joining the dance. You'll begin to get synchronicities back. You'll see repeating numbers. You'll see your totem animal. You'll see the signs that what you were thinking is important and that what you were thinking just now is especially important. So ponder it." So panelists, today I'm going to ask you three multiple choice questions about synchronicities. See how many you can answer correctly. Panelists, go ahead, say your answers out loud so our viewers can hear you in space-time. You who are watching this in video and sometime in the future, say your answers out loud so we can hear you through time-space. As always, the points don't matter. If you had fun, you won. If you learned something cool, you crushed it. Panelists, are you ready for your first question?
Yes.
The term synchronicity was invented by whom? Was it A, Carl Jung, B, Sigmund Freud, C, B.F. Skinner, or D, Jean Piaget? What do you think, panelists?
A.
A's a good guess. Anyone else? Correct answer is indeed Carl Jung.
Oh, yes.
Well-known Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist, founder of analytical psychology. He's the one who really developed concepts of synchronicities, collective unconscious, and archetypes, some form of which are found in the Law of One. And he literally wrote the book on synchronicities, which leads us to our next question. Carl Jung invented the term synchronicity after an encounter with what animal? Was it A, a dragonfly, B, a cat, C, a hummingbird, or D, a scarab beetle? What do you think, panelists?
B.
B's a good guess.
C.
C's a good guess. Aram?
D.
D is a good guess. Interestingly enough, the correct answer is indeed D.
Oh, yes.
He wrote about it in his book on synchronicities, and I'm reading this quote from the book. He says, "A young woman I was treating had, at a critical moment, a dream in which she was given a golden scarab. While she was telling me this dream, I sat with my back to the closed window. Suddenly, I heard a noise behind me, like a gentle tapping. I turned around and saw a flying insect knocking against the window pane from outside. I opened the window and caught the creature in the air as it flew in. It was the nearest analogy to a golden scarab that one finds in our latitudes, a scarabid beetle, the common rose chafer, which, contrary to its usual habits, had evidently felt an urge to get into a dark room at this particular moment." Great example of synchronicity right there. Interesting enough, for folks who didn't know, scarabs were a big deal in ancient Egypt. The Egyptian god Khepri was believed to roll the sun across the sky each day at daybreak and was often portrayed with the head of a scarab beetle. That picture that you see on the right, that's not like a AI-generated image. That was actually found in the tomb of Nefertiti, I believe, an Egyptian queen. So that was an actual deity with an actual scarab beetle head. And it shows up in many different forms of jewelry and decorations because certain scarabs or dung beetles use their legs to roll dung into balls, and the ancient Egyptians believed this was symbolic of the sun's journey from east to west across the sky. So seen as a reflection of the eternal cycle of life, representing rebirth and regeneration. Isn't that cool? Isn't that interesting?
Amazing.
Didn't know that until I was researching this pop quiz. Are you ready for your last question? Let's see how you do on this one. Carl Jung had a decades-long friendship and partnership with which Nobel Prize-winning quantum physicist? Was it A. Wolfgang Pauli, B. Erwin Schrödinger, C. Werner Heisenberg, or D. Max Planck? How well do you know your quantum physicist, panelists? Want to take a guess?
C.
B's good guess.
I'll
I'll
guess
say B
A.
as well.
B's good guess. What do you think, Aram?
Um, this is just a guess. A.
A is a good guess. Erwin Schrödinger is famous for Schrödinger's cat, the scientific thought experiment involving things in quantum states. Werner Heisenberg was responsible for the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Max Planck famously said that matter is derived from consciousness, not the other way around, that consciousness is the most fundamental structure of the universe. Correct answer was indeed Wolfgang Pauli, though. He was a Austrian-Swiss theoretical physicist and a pioneer of quantum physics who won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1945 for his Pauli exclusion principle relating to electron shells in the atom. As it turns out, yeah, Pauli and Carl Jung wrote many letters to each other and met in person several times over the decades and exchanged ideas that helped each other understand their own fields as well as how their fields overlap, and has been written about many times. Super fascinating. If anyone is interested in quantum physics, it is often considered the most difficult branch of science to understand, but when you actually read the words of quantum physicists themselves, you'll find that not only is it not that difficult to understand, but it's got a lot in common with the law of one, much overlap there. Panelists, are any of you into quantum physics or anything? Super fascinating to me, and viewers, I encourage you to check out that episode if you are interested. Otherwise, panelists, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To all our friends at L&L Research, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. To you who are watching this on a video at some point in the near or distant future, thank you for all you've done and continue to do in service to others. We're sending you our love light, and we are receiving yours. Until next time, in the love and light of the one infinite creator. Adonai, namaste. Say goodbye, panelists.
See you guys. Thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in.
Thank you.